Hey.
Hey, how's it going? How y'all doing?
Hey.
Did you get your coffee?
Hey.
We got Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons for all our Canadians.
TJ Hortons.
We got you guys. Everybody's got coffees. Everybody or tea. I'm like so deflated after a week of doing live streams, but I hope that you guys were able to tune into those. If you missed them, we were live every day this week. We did shop critiques from noon to 1 every day. The replays are available. You can learn so much just from watching other shops get critiqued. We raised $644 for the Trevor Project during that time. So thank you to everybody who donated. We're going to leave that charity up for the rest of the month just to see how many more we can get. Other than that, guys, today we're just answering your questions, whether they be related to Etsy, SEO, marketing, social media. That kind of ties into marketing. We are here to answer questions on anything because, for one, I didn't have a plan for a topic for today with all the chaos from Critique Week and streaming and my brain being deflated, and I'm probably not going to be the most articulate person today just because I'm kind of talked out for the week, but that's okay. Second thing is that Handmade Alpha Academy is closing tomorrow night at midnight. So if you guys are interested in joining Handmade Alpha Academy, you got today and you got tomorrow, and then we're closing the doors. That is my 9-module self-paced Etsy coaching program that's going to teach you A to Z how to build, market, and grow a dominant brand on Etsy. We have had so many new students get inside the program and just start posting like, wow. And if you're one of those,
the reception's been really good.
Yeah, if you're one of those, feel free to post in the chat. I even told one alpha, she's like, I've taken so many courses that were bad. And she's like, I know I'm in the right place. I feel like this one's going to be really good. And I'm like, if this course isn't better than all the other ones that you've taken, I will eat a bug on camera. And she's like, well, I hope you won't have to eat a bug. And I'm like, well, I guess it just depends.
That's a weird thing to offer to do.
I know. It was a delusional, tired, weird Starla thing that I said to somebody, but apparently it's a weird half awake deal that I made with someone where if the course isn't the best thing she's ever taken, then I'll eat a bug.
We're in the middle of a live stream, sweetheart. Just screaming down the stairs. Okay, anyway.
She's it's not like we have a toddler up there unattended. She's
11.
Yeah, oh God. All right. So let's go ahead and feel free to get some questions in the chat. Let's see. Happy to be a new member of HAA. I'm an established Etsy business, and I can already tell I'm going to learn so much more. Yeah, that's a big question we've had a lot lately is, I've got an established shop. Is this going to be for me? Yada, yada. Let's see. New pup here, loving it. Is that what we're calling you guys? The alpha pups. The new alpha pups. All right. Starla, love your chair. What kind is it? Mine's a DX Racer. It is a gaming chair. I'm actually going to be getting a new chair, more like Mark's. His chair was redonkulously more expensive than the one that I'm currently in.
I love it.
Yeah, what kind of chair do you have?
The Aeron.
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 Yeah. The DX Racer is it's a nice
for a gaming chair. For what they cost, they're nice.
Yeah, it's a nice gaming chair, but it's leather and you get sweaty. Get really sweaty in it. Let's see. Do you teach funnel marketing? I think that's what it's called. A funnel is anywhere where you capture your ideal customers and you direct them to a place where they can purchase. And yes, an ideal funnel would be an email list, which is one of the big things that we teach in HAA is how to create an email list, how to get people who are shopping in your Etsy store into that email list by offering them an automatic discount code when they sign up. We do that all with GDPR compliance, CAN Spam Act compliance, basically FTC's guidelines for the US, European Union's guidelines for over there across the pond. And we also teach you exactly what types of emails to send. We teach you how to create a sign up page. We teach you how to do all this, based on Etsy's rules and what they allow. And we also teach you, no matter where in what we call the marketing timeline you are, we teach you what types of email marketing you should be sending to your email list. And we also teach you how to do it for free because we use MailChimp. That's what we teach in HAA. It is free. And I also teach you how to clean that list, how to identify people who aren't actually like opening your emails, and how to remove them so that you can keep your email list for free as long as possible. You used to be able to have 2,000 subscribers for MailChimp before you had to switch to a paid account. They've dropped that down to 500. That's still a lot of people. Once you reach 500 subscribers, you should ideally be converting enough of that traffic to be able to pay once you exceed 500 subscribers. But reaching 500 subscribers is already a lot. That's one of the things in HAA that we really pride ourselves on, is you don't really have to buy a whole lot. I know that it's like sucks when you get inside a program and then there's a bunch of upsells in there. We don't do that. In fact, I pay for eRank for you so that you don't have to pay for it
for a year.
For a year, right? But the one thing that you will need to pay for, and thankfully it's really cheap, is when you are doing your email list portion, a domain email if you don't already have one. So rather than starla@gmail.com, starla@handmadealphaacademy.com. That's one thing that mailing lists, they don't like to see emails coming from @gmail.com, @yahoo.com addresses. Those usually go to spam. So by purchasing a domain email, they're usually, your domain you can get for like $12. And that is like per year, $12 a year. And then your email, I think that we pay like $5 a month for it. So it's really cheap to do, and it's totally worth it. And then you have a professional business email where you can put that in your Etsy shop. Email me at starla@cutelittleshop.com. And it just sounds a lot more professional. All right.
Careful with them sweater sleeves, dog. You itching me up.
All right. Looks like we finally had some questions in. Let's do it.
For products like mugs and shirts that have a quote printed on it, is it necessary to include that quote in the title?
It's not necessary, but if it's a quote that's popular that people are specifically searching for, I would. Otherwise, the algorithm isn't going to be able to detect what the quote is based on what it is in the photo. So I would definitely consider putting it in your title if it is something that people are searching for. The best way to see that is to check eRank and see if the quote or any part of the quote is being searched for. Otherwise, people won't know to search for it. I don't think anybody's just searching for quote mug. So, like I said, I think it just depends on what the quote is.
Is there any way to do a double dip sale on Etsy now? It appears that Etsy's not allowing stacking. Nope. The original method is no longer available, so we cannot double dip anymore.
Yeah, really sucks. Etsy on sale is out of business. And unfortunately, if you had credits, they didn't refund anybody who had bought credits. So that really sucks.
Sounds like a class action time, ladies and gents.
A class action. They were good to us for many, many years. I think that they likely went out of business because nobody was using their service anymore, other than me teaching everybody how to do double dip. So we'll have to find something else super awesome to do for the holidays.
I updated my shop banner, which has a small icon photo in it. That was my shop icon photo, so I changed that, but wonder if I should go back to a matching icon image.
It's all about execution. There is no real answer to that, unfortunately. That's a visual question, so without me seeing it, I can't really tell you. My biggest suggestion would be to post in the Handmade Alpha Facebook community down below. Ask for feedback from some of our students and some of our alphas. I'm sure that they would be more than happy to let you know what they think about how it looks. I think that both would work, but it just depends on how it's executed.
I've seen 2 people post with a directing at a user that I cannot see.
Oh.
This one. I see this comment, and then there's a couple people addressing their question, but I do not see their question.
Oh.
That's very weird. Do you recommend watermarking picture to avoid people stealing them and trying to sell as their own? Okay.
No.
No, I don't think that's a good reason to do it. For one, because it's super duper easy to remove a watermark from a photo. Amateurs can do it.
Only if you're selling like art, like digital art, where someone can just directly save that photo and keep it. If you're trying to watermark your jewelry and things like that, there are apps where you literally, and they're free, where you
Yeah,
just
they're just called like watermark remover.
you tap the watermark and it's gone. That's not going to keep people from stealing your photos. I promise you. We just had somebody steal the Handmade Alpha Academy logo, make a Handmade Alpha Academy alumni
Yeah.
shirt, and they're selling it. Now I'm having to go after them. But the point being is that people who steal don't care. They will find ways around it. And unfortunately, thefts on the internet exist. And if they live outside of the US, assuming, well, if you're not in the US, but if they live in somewhere like, for example, China is a great example. They don't have the same copyright laws that we do. And if, you try to send them a request to remove your products, they're probably going to ignore it. Short answer is that it's not going to happen very often. Yes, I know it seems like it happens a lot because when it happens, a lot of people talk about it. It's not all that common. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen whether or not you have a watermark on your photos or not.
And they're probably not going to be huge competition to you anyway, so it's not really worth worrying about. Chances are it's probably in an Asian country or a Northeastern country, and they're not going to respond to requests for removal or anything like that from you.
Yeah, digital art, digital products, things like that can easily, you can take the exact image and sell it is one thing, but if it's like jewelry, I wouldn't.
Put identical Durst tags on descriptions on a few items, no sales, any. Searched on that term from outside my account. One showed up on first page. I stopped looking for the others at page 20. What other factors?
Okay, there's a lot of things here. Rhonda, you're in Handmade Alpha Academy, right? You just joined. So wait till module 7. Because that's going to break down a little bit. But if you're scrolling through pages on Etsy looking for your products,
that's not how that works.
You're seeing a feed of products that's personalized to you. Because Etsy caters their experience per shopper. So that's not how you find your rank. That's Etsy saying, oh, we've noticed that Rhonda searches for these types of products. So we're going to show Rhonda, these types of products. For example, if I only bought blue products, but I searched for necklaces, Etsy might recognize that and show me lots of blue necklaces. You'll need to use eRank's rank checker in order to really see where, before personalization is applied, where on average your listings would show up in order to gauge whether or not, your SEO is good. But my biggest piece of advice is to get to module 7 in HAA, because for one, your mind is going to be absolutely blown. And for 2, you'll get a way more solid strategy for doing your SEO. But for now, I would just kind of wait it out. If you want to check out eRank though, check out the rank checking tool, and that'll give you a really good idea of where your listings are already showing up in search for the keywords that you want to rank for.
I know pictures don't affect your ranking, but what adjusting listing product variations and attributes affect ranking too? Brain is fried.
Technically, Etsy is looking at those for ranking. Your attributes are a factor. Now, if you've incorrectly attributed your item, I would definitely change it. But if it's not something that needs tinkering with, I would leave it alone if the product is selling.
Do you have any info on the new related searches that are showing up after the last photo in a listing? Are those possible keywords that we should look into our own listings?
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit yesterday during Q&A over at eRank. For one, during the summer, Etsy tests lots of things, and those tests usually don't last long. The related searches, that was a test. I don't even have it anymore. It's gone. I don't even think that Etsy, let me know if you guys still have it, but mine's already gone. So I assume that they did away with it. Yes, you could get some keyword ideas, but it's more that Etsy's already recognizing that that's probably what you sell. You sell something similar to the terms that are popping up, which means Etsy has kind of recognized that those terms are related to what you sell. Now, if those terms are totally different from what you sell, that might be a little bit alarming. Pam and I talked about it a lot yesterday, though, and it's actually good thing. I know that it looks scary because it's like, oh no, they're going to see things from our competitors. But if they've made it to your 10th photo and they get to that little recommended searches thing and they still haven't committed to buy, they probably weren't all that interested in purchasing to begin with. If they've made it that far and still click off the page. But if you are selling within a niche, that search term, if you're optimized for that search term that's popped up, it's very likely that, you know, assuming that you sell kind of similar things or a similar style of products, they could click that button and see more of your products on that search page, especially if they're all tied together, which could help them to get one step closer to buying something from you that they really want. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, I also think that it's just a test that Etsy will likely do away with because they do crazy things during the summer. And this probably isn't the last weird test that we'll see.
Can we talk about Google Analytics? Not just yet, but they did just switch it out.
Yes, my goodness. I scripted a whole video to release right when Google Analytics 4, you know, became the standard on July 1st, because Universal Analytics is going to stop tracking on July 1st. I scripted that video yesterday with the plan to release it, and Etsy slid in right at the last minute. So now we can connect to Google Analytics 4. Hold off on that if you're confused about how to do it. Sounds like it's kind of a complicated process. Anthony Wolf over at eRank is actually working on a step-by-step, like probably a blog post that will teach you how to do it. And then I might take that blog post and turn it into a video if you need that extra help. But I'm assuming that if Anthony was kind of stumped on it, it's probably complicated.
I'm curious about the About section. Has there been a study done on about how often shoppers look at that? Didn't even know it existed until I started my own shop. I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure somebody's done some. Etsy has probably done studies on it, but if to my knowledge, that information is not available anywhere.
Yeah. My biggest thing that, especially in Handmade Alpha Academy, I say that if somebody has made it all the way to your About section, they're looking for one good reason why. Why should I buy from you out of everybody else who's selling? And they're usually looking for some type of validation. They're looking for something that's going to stand out to them. And that's why I always recommend using your About section to connect you as a person to your buyers, where, you know, there's a lot of Etsy sellers who sell things that they've bought, you know, on Alibaba or on eBay that they're just reselling a bunch of junk. You can really show them that you're a person, you are a small business, you are a family, you know, you create your products by hand through your About section to really convince them to follow through with whatever purchase they were thinking about making. So I love About sections. I think that they're a great little conversion tool.
If I'm running a sale, say 10%, want to set up the thing that sends codes to buyers to, that favor an item or leave it in their cart, should it be higher than the sale percentage?
Well,
I mean, I think it should be at least equal to the sale percentage.
Yeah, because
it's a little dishonest if because of the sale percentage is going to immediately overwrite that anyway.
Yeah, it won't stack. They'll get whichever one is higher.
Yeah.
So if your sale in your shop is higher, then they won't even be able to really use that coupon code. So I would make it the same.
Same or higher.
Yeah.
I've reopened my second Etsy shop and want to know how to have the Etsy on sale or Etsy seller app notify me on my phone of sales and messages for both shops without having to log in or out. Possible? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I do not think that there is a way, because there's only one app and you can't toggle between shops. You have to. So my suggestion would be to get if whatever email address you're using, you can get alerts for separate email inboxes to your phone, and you should get an email when you make a sale. That's what we do. I would recommend, you know, using that to be your notifier of whether or not you made a sale. Keep your Etsy shops in their own designated email inboxes. Obviously, if you've already set them up, that's kind of a pain in the butt though. But unfortunately with the apps, you got to pick one shop at a time.
All right, let's see. And remember, I can only answer questions that have a possible answer to them, so I'd automatically skip questions that I cannot answer. Questions about listing photos. I do POD and typically fill all my slots with color options. Should I instead pick the 3 to 4 best colors and use the remaining slots for customer service / branding affirming picks?
I would experiment with it a little bit. In our and I'm actually working on another POD shop right now. Super excited to be able to talk about that in a few weeks. But there's a couple different ways you could do it. Just filling the photo slots with color options. I mean, you could do that on one image, right? You could have one image with all of the options on it rather than using, you know, I would not scroll through and look at all the different colors if the design was the same. There's a lot of things that you could do. You could do one with your wash instructions. You could do one with, for example, your products might ship separately depending on what POD supplier you're using. A lot of them, like Printify ships from all over the place. So you might need to put something in there, you know, ordering more than one thing. Your products might arrive at different times. Don't panic. We use a trusted third party to ship our products for us. If you have any issues with your shipment, please reach out to me directly so I can take care of it. There's a lot of different things that you could put in there. Or if you order some samples, getting some pictures of yourself wearing your products, depending on what they are, or drinking out of your coffee mug, or, you know, covering up with your POD blanket. My biggest piece of advice is to do what your competitors are not doing. Look at what they're doing. If they're just slapping their mock-ups in there, you could gain an advantage by being the one who does things a little bit differently. Me and Amber Marie, we made a shop, like a year ago called Alpha Adapt, where we wanted to test all different little experiments and things. And obviously it doesn't have like a bunch of sales because it's just alpha merch. Only you guys are going to buy alpha merch. But in that shop, we experimented with all different styles of photos. And we experimented with all different ways to make a POD shop less POD, you know, looking. So that's Alpha Adapt. I think it's linked down below. If not, it's just ALPHADAPT, Alpha Adapt, like adapt.
Alpha Adapt.
Alpha Adapt. But yeah, I think that there's a lot that you could do there. Just do what your competitors aren't doing so that you stand out a little bit. There's a lot of advantages to standing out.
I looked up how much it costs to have a PO box, and it's not that much. That way I can put the PO box on my email list and keep my personal address private. I highly recommend that anyway. That way when your business blows up and you have a couple of crazies that fall in love with you and I want to kill them because they are only for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
We've ran into issues with that in the past where I had to put like a cease and desist out and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Periodically Google your name and your address to see if somebody's blasted it out there, because believe it or not, it just kind of happens sometimes.
Oh yeah, we had somebody who listed us as like a public a school.
It was a data company. It was a data company that sells scalped data, and they put us out as an actual school with our personal address.
Right.
I had to like send them a cease and desist, like, you're gonna get me killed. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, not a question. Sorry, but I'm glad I found you. Super excited for Mark's opinion. I'm sorry for you. I got a rock and roll thing. No sales though.
That's funny.
Love it. Is it better to exact match or get as many keywords in as possible and tags and focus on broad matching the most? It's better to exact match, and you should not be trying to keyword stuff.
Yeah, don't try to keyword stuff. Exact matches are stronger. Those are stronger, but broad matching is okay. But don't do the whole fill your entire title with as many, you know, getting exactly 140 characters, blah, blah, blah. I've been hearing that nonstop. I don't know who is teaching that there's a magical character counting robot that gives brownie points for filling your whole title out.
Influencers say the wildest things.
I mean, use a diverse number of keywords and experiment. Do a short title for one product, do a longer title for another, and see what works for you, because ultimately the algorithm doesn't care how long your titles are. However, Etsy has shown that customers buy more or prefer the shorter titles, you know, when they look at a product, because it feels more trustworthy. So usually it's just best to experiment, because different types of shops, industries, target customers are going to have different results. I wanted to point out, Annie had said, I paid $2,500 and learned nothing like that besides basic things. Somebody told me, I know, are you talking about, I don't say the name of the course, but somebody told me that they paid for a course that was $2,500.
That's the same person.
Oh, is it the same person?
The person that posted on Facebook.
Oh, yes. Were you the one from the Facebook group? Yeah, But we hear that story so much. There was another program somebody paid $8,000 for, and the information was not just basic, it was wrong.
If they're not coming to your house to teach you that material, there's not a course out there worth $8,000. Sorry.
That's astronomical. Even 2,500 is
a bit excessive, yeah.
That's a lot.
I'm trying to do email with MailChimp, but it's hard to do. Is there a video of how to set it up? We have one in our course because there's a lot of liability associated with it. When you sign up, you obviously agree to our terms that if you break the law, it's not our fault.
Yeah, so with MailChimp, we do not teach that here. There are so many laws and regulations and things that you can get wrong. It takes hours for me to explain it. I keep that all in Handmade Alpha Academy because I do not want to teach material without being able to also answer questions when my students have them. On YouTube, I would prefer that you guys go to MailChimp's official channel, which they do have one, and it's very good. So for those who aren't in Handmade Alpha Academy, go to MailChimp directly. They've got a great YouTube, and they have amazing articles on their actual website that will tell you literally everything that you need to know. They will fill out everything. So, okay.
Sorry, somebody blasted out the name of the, I want to check them out. They deleted it.
Yeah.
But they put the name out there.
I know.
Okay, that comment isn't associated with anything. I'm starting to niche down, but I have a couple items that don't fit into the vibe, but I've had a few sales on them. Should I delete them or keep them?
A few sales does not a shop make. A few sales are, I mean, if you're trying to niche and you're trying to go a direction with your brand, I mean, you can leave them in there, but you've got to make that decision for you. Do you want to keep, a couple products that don't fit just because they've made a few sales, or do you want to move your brand forward in the direction that I'm assuming you're actually passionate about? It would be like if I had a shop, where I sold cat products, and I love cats, but for some reason I hate dogs, but I've got 3 products in my shop that are dogs, and I absolutely hate dogs, and I hate those products, and I don't care about dogs. I only like cats. But I've had a couple sales on the dog products. I might eventually get rid of the dog. I guess cats and dogs go together. Maybe it was like football. If I had cat products and then I had 3 football themed products, and I don't know anything about football, but those products are just selling. I've had a couple sales on them. It's really up to you. There's no right or wrong, but I would dare say that if you're trying to build a cohesive brand image that you can be proud of, and you've got some products in there that don't align, sometimes it's worth it to prune those out. I mean, totally up to you, but I would.
Claire had said, I got a quote from a certain YouTuber who was charging $9,000 for 6 months of coaching. More than likely, because the one that was charging $8,000 also does the 6 months. So it sounds like they've raised their prices by $1,000. Yeah, don't do it.
Oh,
we know for a fact that they're scamming people. We can't speak publicly about that because they're probably making enough money to turn it into a huge legal battle. But we know for a fact that they're scamming. But no names here.
We got some of them in trouble with some big companies that they were working with because they were actually
lying.
Yeah, they were actually lying.
Any tips for Christmas in July sale event marketing?
So Christmas in July, if you're actually releasing Christmas products, July is when people start searching for Christmas products on Etsy. I would definitely do a little bit of that keyword research in eRank and see last year what was popular in July. In terms of marketing, it's so hard because you're going to have people who are really excited about the idea of the holidays. You're going to have other people who are really disgusted that you're even thinking about Christmas. And it's okay to have them in your shop. With marketing, it can be really hard because you have to get creative in your imagery. I dare say that I would get creative with your props when you're doing marketing photos and things for like a Christmas in July sale. I would get a little bit creative with some props that are kind of subtle that I wouldn't put like Santa Claus and things like that, but I would try to incorporate in some winter elements that aren't going to throw off the entire vibe of your marketing. Thankfully, I'm already familiar with your marketing, so I know that that would work. But you know, how will you execute a Christmas on July type sale? It really just depends on your audience. And, you know, I would expect there to be at least a couple people who leave crappy comments because they don't even want to think about Christmas. All I can say is get creative with it, because that's kind of a tough one.
Do you recommend changing up your shop for the holidays, changing keywords, product photos, shop banners?
Some things. So changing keywords, not on anything that sells. I'm not a big fan of going in and changing out keywords for the holidays, just because if you're already listing something during the holidays, or if it's a holiday themed product, that's not such a big deal. But it's really hard to compete around holiday time for holiday themed keywords unless the products themselves in nature are holiday themed. Most people who are shopping on Etsy, they're not typing in holiday gifts as keywords. They're not typing in things that aren't directly related to a product. And if they are, there's not a lot of purchase intent there. So for example, if I were selling, you know, a silver birthstone necklace on Etsy, someone who searches silver birthstone necklace is more likely to actually purchase a silver birthstone necklace than someone who searches for gifts for mom or Christmas gifts for mom and then discovers a birthstone necklace. We tend to type in things like gifts for mom and then use that as a springboard to come up with new ideas. So I might type gifts for mom into the search bar, or Christmas gifts for mom, look at all the different types of products, find a silver birthstone necklace, and then refine my search to silver birthstone necklace and go from there, where the Christmas gifts for mom was just the initial search to give me an idea. So for keywords, I wouldn't. Now, product photos, sure, as long as you're not throwing a bunch of weird clip art and, you know, going against your brand, I love a little bit, like maybe like a little pine branch or something in the corner, a little snowflake. I think that, you know, sometimes when done well, they look really nice. Shop banner, sure, if you can fit it into your branding, make it, you know, make it look a little bit more festive. I think that it's a great way to show people that you're ready to accept holiday orders, that you are in holiday mode, and that their orders are going to arrive on time. I also recommend sticking something about your holiday shipping deadlines right on your banner as we get closer to those.
What do you think about the impact of artificial intelligence on Etsy sellers, basically for those who are selling digital products? I don't think it's as big as people make it out to be. At the end of the day, those aren't your competition. I mean, really. I mean, most of those people are making things that are like printouts, and if you're talking about like truly digital, you're just selling digital things. I really, because I mean, you can go in and do the exact same thing for virtually free. So I really don't think that they're that. I mean, they're definitely selling. There's definitely not a 0% effect, but I don't think it's as big as people like to make it out to be.
Yeah, my thought is that hopefully someday Etsy will have a category for AI. I know though that I'm getting pretty darn good at telling when something's AI, and that's not what I want to buy. I don't want to buy those types of products. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure now that AI has been around for a while, you're probably able to look at a picture on Facebook and say, oh yeah, that's not real.
Like, yeah, that's not real.
Yeah.
It's called adaptation.
And I'm starting to do it on Etsy too, where I look at, you know, a painting and I look at it and I say, oh yeah, that's AI.
Same thing as I started looking when people started 3D printing things versus like injection molding or carving or something like that. Like I can tell when something's 3D printed. Right. It's a little harder now because they've gotten a lot better at 3D printing, but you can still usually tell.
And nothing against AI if, you know, there's a demand for it. And some people are really good at it because they're able to put in lots of like alterations. Some people Photoshop on top of AI. I've seen some really cool stuff done with it. But if it's something that, you know, if I actually wanted a watercolor painting that was hand painted, I would be upset if I bought something AI by accident when I thought I was supporting, you know, a painter. Yeah. So we don't know what the future holds for AI. That's the scary thing about it. But as of right now, I think that a lot of people are able to see the difference.
I've heard you both mentioning stores with copyright issues. Can you discuss that a little further? Just don't sell stuff that doesn't belong to you.
Yeah, I mean, what specifically? I've got 2 videos on my channel that cover copyright pretty in depth. If you did not come up with it and you do not have a license to sell it, you cannot sell it.
Should not sell it.
Books, movies, TV shows, cartoon characters, quotes, musicians, lyrics, anything, brands, brand colors.
And it doesn't matter
logos.
if it's a millionaire or a billionaire that you're stealing that design from. At the end of the day, there's somebody who's being paid a lot less than that person to design that thing. You're stealing their intellectual property.
Now, in the future, I'm going to be talking a lot more about it, because one thing that you guys ask me about all the time is legal licensing. How do I do legal licensing so that I can legally sell products? Well, you're not going to get a legal license from Disney. You're not going to get a legal license to sell Star Wars. You're not going to get a legal license from the NFL. Those are millions of dollars to obtain, to maintain, and you have to have insurance for at least the NFL. They make you have insurance that is like $1 million. But there are smaller companies. And right now, the new shop that I'm working on with one of our past students, it is going to have licensed themes from books, popular book series. And right now we're in the process of licensing through lots of authors legally to be able to do this. That way I can teach that material to you later. So hopefully I have some better content for you very soon covering that. But it's a really exciting process.
I hear that this is the slowest season on Etsy. Is that for all niches? Nope.
Yeah, not all niches.
If you sell summer stuff, probably not.
And I know that you're having, great sales right now for your readings. So I think that, if you're selling, I think it really just depends on your industry. Now, we always have people, when I talk about slow seasons, they're like, it's my best season, and they sell bikinis. I'm like, well, of course it's your best season. You sell bikinis. It's summer. So it's always going to be industry specific, but as a standard, yes, May through August are Etsy slowest season. After August, things start to pick up. Etsy's busiest season is November. That's when lots of people are shopping.
Tefid said on copyright. Fan art is not fair use, despite what people say.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. Parody is not the same thing as fan art. Those are two completely different things. And parody is one of those extremely fine gray lines that Etsy will still always side with the copyright holder over. So just be aware of that.
Aaron, hey, I do the podcast for Entangled's Crave series with Tracy Wolf. She and I are friends. Can you drop me an email at starla@handmadealphaacademy.com with what your books are? We're actually struggling to get our licensing with Entangled right now, and I have a few questions for you because Tracy's been super duper busy with her most recent book launch. So I haven't wanted to bug her, but I would love to talk to you about it because I love Entangled.
One day you said an HAA student only launched 4 times a year. How is that done? Seasonally.
Yeah, seasonal launches.
Once a quarter.
Yeah, you can. So in Handmade Alpha Academy, we do a marketing timeline that you can follow, but you can actually adapt it to go as fast or slow as you want. I recommend 12-week marketing cycles for collections and doing 4 collections a year. You can do more than that, though, if you want to. A lot of people just choose to do 4. And I mean, what specifically do you want to know about how to do it? Because I mean, during the 12 weeks in between launches, you're marketing your collection, you're marketing the collection as a whole, you're marketing individual products from that collection, you're sending emails, you're teasing the collection that you're working on while that collection is available. You're also talking about the collection that you're working on, when that's going to be available, priming them to buy the collection that you're working on. That way, when you launch it, they go and buy right away. That is the psychology in Handmade Alpha Academy, is priming them to purchase before the products are even for sale. It's what makes Handmade Alpha Academy so darn good, is the ability to build that following that's ready to buy. But I mean, that's the gist of it. You're just releasing your products in small, in batches, getting people super duper excited about that launch, and then, doing a lot of marketing work.
And I said, geesh, what don't you do? You have one of Hermione's watches to go back in time and hustle hard as heck. No, she just is weird and her hobby is working. So she gets up in the morning and works until she goes to bed. How do I find my niche crowd? I have super spooky stuff, kind of edgy mixed with goth. I find people who like it, but I haven't found the crowd to cater to. You just told us the crowd you cater to. You
just described them. How do you find them? Like, where do you market to them? They're your niche that you just described. They're on Instagram.
Find where they're hanging out.
They're on TikTok.
Learn about the crowd a little bit.
Find some people who fit into that niche. Find some influencers. Find like some models, and then go into those models' comment sections and start finding individuals and look more at those types of people, and start following them and talking to them and engaging, and use hashtags that they're using. Look at the things that they're talking about. Look at the hashtags that they are using. Start using those in your posts. Be mindful of the keywords that you're using in your Instagram posts. Instagram cares way more about keywords in your posts than they do about hashtags. But start diving into real people. The cool thing about Instagram is that people choose to have their publics or their profiles on display. That, I mean, if they want them to be private, then they'd keep them private, and some do. But most people have profiles that are just available to look at. Yep. And it can help you to learn a lot about the type of people that you want to sell to.
How do you feel about repeating the same item on Etsy with different pictures? I feel like I have too many listings of the same item.
If you're experimenting and doing an A/B split test for a short amount of time, that's fine. But don't just repeat all your products and make a bunch of different listings. That's not very honest. As a shopper, I would be really confused if I saw 2 products that looked the same, but the pictures are different, and I'm trying to compare them side by side. If I can't figure out what the difference is, I might decide not to buy. Because what if I make the wrong choice? You know, if you're just testing and experimenting, you know, testing different keywords, testing a thumbnail style, that's fine. But I wouldn't just duplicate all your items for the sake of inflating your listings.
I sell various bat items. Is it too early for Halloween? And can I apply the holiday boot camp to Halloween?
It is absolutely not too soon for Halloween. Halloween is already being highly searched on Etsy right now. In fact, this upcoming Tuesday's video is going to be like, get your Halloween products listed. So not too early. Can you use the holiday boot camp for Halloween? Sure.
Why not?
Sure. You're already in. Are you already in Handmade Alpha Academy? You don't have a username for some reason on YouTube. If you're already in HAA and you already have the boot camp, yeah. Some of the boot camp you would be able to use for Halloween if you're joining, you know, the one this year. There will be some templates, but the holiday boot camp, it really is about prepping for Cyber Week. But in terms of like the graphics and things that we have in Handmade Alpha Academy, they can be used for Halloween.
I have my business name on all my pictures for websites, and I'm not changing those pictures. Does it really hinder someone buying a product, though? No, not necessarily. I mean, I watched a video a couple days ago. They were talking about the psychology. It's different when you have a picture, your icon on the bottom of a physical product, and you're selling the physical product versus a piece of art with a watermark on it. And obviously, I think you should have your watermark when it's a piece of art. However, there is some thought that it could be potentially making people not want to buy products because they don't want to buy something that has a watermark on it, and they're afraid that they're going to receive a product with a watermark on it. Now, those of us who respect artists, we understand that you guys want to watermark your art because it's your freaking art. However, it's still kind of new studies that are going into stuff like that. And obviously, a lot of the time you need to watermark your products in order to attempt to keep them safe, make it less enticing for people to steal them.
I've never noticed the watermarks on your photos, so that probably means that they're not very intrusive. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm tired. They weren't a distraction. If they were there, I didn't even notice them, so it should be fine. I've seen your shops, all of your shops, many times.
Does it hurt your shop to change the banner and logo? I'm sorry if you answered this prior. No, I mean, it doesn't affect your ranking at all. But I mean, if you change it to a bunch of butts, then
yeah,
maybe,
assuming you're changing it to something better than
unless what you sell is butts.
Right. If you're changing it to something that's better than it was previously, no, it won't have any negative impact. If your original banner was great and you change it to something bad, that would affect it. But in terms of the algorithm, no, you are free to play with your banner. You can change it all around.
I'm wanting to start a second shop. Is it normal now for Etsy to shut down your new shop and old shop when you do this?
I don't want to say yes or no. We just opened another new shop. It's under the Alpha I'm working with. She has lots of shops and she just opened the new shop and it hasn't been shut down yet. And none of her other shops have been shut down. So, but I don't want to say that couldn't be the case because I'm sure it could happen. So anything can happen is the only thing I can say. Etsy They are a mess right now. They're trying to train their AI. That's why a lot of listings are getting deactivated for like drug paraphernalia when it's like a pair of flip-flops or something. Um, Etsy's AI is trying to learn, and they're trying to train it, and it's a toddler right now that doesn't understand to color on the piece of paper. It's just coloring all over the place. And Etsy's working to teach it how to color on the piece of paper, and sometimes it still goes off of the paper because
Sneezes.
it's still learning and it's messing up. So in terms of the shops getting shut down, it could. But it's also likely that, you know, you can get a hold of Etsy and have them reactivate
we've had some stuff sent to us talking about it, but there's nothing like perfectly. I can't vet 100% any of the sources that say that they know where things are coming from. How does Etsy search beta how does Etsy beta search analytics compare to eRank?
So Etsy beta search analytics are a completely different thing to what eRank is. Etsy beta search analytics are going to give you a very narrow idea of some of the keywords that you are being found for. eRank is not an analytics tool. eRank is a keyword tool. It tells you how many people are searching for specific keywords, so you know to use them in your listing.
In all technicality, it is an analytics.
But it's not an. Let me finish. It's not an analytics tracking tool. It's not. No. But what we recommend is look at the terms that you're seeing in Etsy Search Analytics Beta, which isn't the best. Google Analytics is way better. It's going to give you way more data. Etsy Search Analytics Beta has been in beta since 2018. It's not that great, but you can find some interesting terms there. Take those into eRank's keyword tool and see how many people are actually searching for those terms. Is it useful? Yeah, it totally is. Google Analytics is way more useful though, because it tells you exact keywords that you're being found for. You can see who is shopping in your store in real time. It can tell you the exact keywords that brought people to your specific listings and how many listings they looked at. And now that we finally have the information, you know, from Etsy about Google Analytics 4 being accepted as of today, I believe, we should have a tutorial very soon on how to get that all connected up for you guys. But eRank, as soon as we get that system integrated over, we actually display your Google Analytics data right on eRank as well in a way that's a lot easier to understand than how Google Analytics displays it. You just have to connect those accounts. That's coming soon because it's going to be a big, huge thing, and we still have to learn a brand new system. So more on that later. But short answer, take the terms from Etsy Search Analytics Beta, pop those into the eRank keyword tool. That way you can get more information about the terms.
I have 140 sales and 15 5-star reviews. I got my first 4-star yesterday. Does a 4-star affect my ranking and quality score badly when a shop is this new?
No.
4 stars is a good review.
Etsy sees a 4-star is good, 3-star is neutral, 2 and 1 stars is bad. So 4-star, Etsy still sees that as a good thing. So don't be too upset about it.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's a lot of people out there that will rate you 4 stars even if the product is absolutely perfect, because they don't rate anything 5 stars unless it changes their life. So most websites anymore won't penalize you for anything less than anything more than a 2.
Sean.
Do image alt tags affect ranking?
So not in Etsy search, in Google search, they do. However, don't keyword stuff your alt text.
They are for accessibility for people who are image impaired.
Visually impaired. Yeah. So, you know, that might be, if you're the only person who sells, we'll say mugs, if you've got all your mugs and, you know, your competitors are all on that search page beside you, and you've got a couple mugs on that search page, and somebody who's visually impaired is shopping on Etsy, and you're the only shop who has their alt text filled out, and that alt text describes what's in your image, you might be the one person to make that sale because you were the only shop that made your store accessible to somebody who's visually impaired. If you've just got a bunch of keywords shoved in there, though, that would tick me off. If I, was shopping and that was the only way I had to see, was through like a screen reader. So if you can naturally get your keywords in there, for example, white ceramic mug with gray tabby cat design wearing a pink flower crown. Okay, that kind of is keyword optimized, and it still tells you what the product is. You can get some good keywords in there, but don't keyword stuff your alt text.
Does Etsy take money over $250 from a seller's account to refund a buyer who is claiming non-delivery, regardless of any other factors, including tracking status or signature confirmation?
They have.
They have. We have heard cases of that happening. Though technically, if there was a signature given, you should be able to dispute that because that's a legal thing. They can't take money from you if a person physically signed a product.
But they
They
have.
still will, but that's going to be on you to get legal representation in that case and determine whether or not it's worth it over $250.
Yeah, they have. Unfortunately,
They have and they will are two different things, though. I'm trying to stay positive on that light because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
I've only heard a couple small cases of it happening.
Yeah, yeah.
I still have it as of yesterday, even it only shows on desktop and was related to my actual keywords.
Oh, okay, the related searches. Yeah, I don't have it anymore. I checked yesterday to see if I had it and it was going.
What would you do before and after going on vacation to help get found by search engines? I'm preloading social media posts before I leave. What else should I be doing?
So assuming that you're not going on vacation mode, okay, are you that's actually an essential piece of the puzzle. If you are not going on vacation mode, make sure that for your Etsy shop, you have it everywhere that you are on vacation. Have your autoresponder set up. I think you can set it up for a week to let people know that you're on vacation. Extend out your shipping times, and unless you're POD and or digital, and make it known that you're going to be away. If you are going to put your shop on vacation mode, basically your listing quality scores or Etsy's gauge of the activity that shoppers are performing in your shop and listings, that comes to an end if those listings aren't available to buy, whether it's vacation mode, the listing's deactivated, the listing's sold out. It doesn't matter. If customers can't organically find your listings in search, click on them, explore them, favorite them, buy them, leave reviews for them, yada, yada, your listing quality score doesn't go away. But during vacation mode, it's almost like it goes to sleep. It's like it sits still. Etsy doesn't see activity coming in anymore. So what I always recommend is that when you come back from vacation mode, your objective should be to get people in your store, running a sale, posting it on all your social medias, releasing some brand new products, doing things to bring activity back into your storefront. That way, it helps to show Etsy, hey, I'm back. I would like my listings to go back and search. I'm not quite sure what to do before and after to be found by search engines. I'm a little confused. Preloading social media posts, scheduling out your content is good. It really just depends on scheduling out your content is fine for social. Aside from that, I'm a big fan of just putting your shop on vacation mode and enjoying your break, really. Like, everybody needs a break every once in a while.
How do you define when a product is selling? Like, are we looking for at least one sale a week or a month? That's going to vary wildly from industry to industry.
Yeah. If you are a seller who has no sales, and then suddenly you get a sale of one of your listings, what do you know? That's your best seller at that point until you make more sales. If a listing is making sales at a frequency that is more than any of your other listings, that is selling. Everybody is going to have a different definition of selling. There's no benchmark for that. There's no a listing that sells every month is a listing that is selling. If you have 10 listings that sell every day and then you only have one listing that sells once a month, well, your once a month listing is that's your slower listing. So it really just depends on your particular, sales status and how many sales you make, on average over a month, a week, a day for some sellers. It really just depends. I just wouldn't touch anything that is doing well in comparison to your other listings.
When pricing products on Etsy, should I include ad spend into the final price?
You can. I mean,
yeah, I mean, that's totally up to you. Price within the top 10% of your industry.
Depends on what your ad spend is, I guess. If your ad spend is $600, probably not. So, but you can price to accommodate a little bit.
Do you think I have to try other products too? I was thinking mixing like digital products too. No, that's not necessary. You don't need to do multiple different types of product. If your products aren't selling, there's usually one or more other problems that exist, and adding a different kind of product into that mix isn't going to solve the problem that you're having.
Yeah, I think it just depends. Feel free to experiment. Totally fine to test new things. Don't be afraid to try. You'll never know until you try.
I'm an HA and I sell tarot readings, but I kind of wish to expand to spiritual art and spiritual POD products. Is that too much, too broad? Will it draw people away?
No, I think it fits your niche. As long as the art and those POD products align with the overall image that you're building, which you are building a great cohesive, cozy brand image like we've talked about together, I think that you could incorporate in some cozy products that fit right in with that.
How do you feel about Etsy survey asking about make an offer for our listings? I think they're pulling that from Reverb because Etsy bought Reverb not that long ago, and that's been a thing on Reverb for a long time. I think it should be optional. Otherwise, we're all going to get inboxes full of crap, you know? But I mean, if you're someone who is like a vintage seller, might be a good thing for you. If you have a piece that, or I mean, anybody really, if you have pieces that you can't quite get rid of and they've just been sitting in your shop and you want to, as long as it's optional and you can turn it on like per listing and not just like per shop.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, if you're asking my opinions, not a fan of it.
No, I don't really like it. I see its use, but
I think it would also get very annoying very quickly. So not a fan. Anthony is on it. Oh, he is on it.
He's always on it. He's like her, man. Just all he does is work.
He works way more than I do.
I don't agree with that. You don't think you give yourself enough credit?
Man, he is up before I am awake and he works until like
way after we're asleep.
Yeah. He is crazy. I don't know where he gets all his energy.
I'd be careful talking about the Etsy survey. It said if you take the survey, you can't talk about it. Uh-oh. You're going to go to jail now.
I did have somebody message me about the survey. They were like, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Like, that's okay. You don't have to tell me.
If I have a sale running for 10%, what coupon should I send buyers to? Oh, we already kind of covered that topic, and it's from the same person.
Oh, okay.
How about Flowdesk for email? Can we still use the same concepts you share in MailChimp for HAA?
Hold up. The first one.
This?
Yeah.
It's the exact same comment as before.
Okay. Yeah, Natasha, we did answer that, actually. You're right.
Honey, we are like 400 questions behind.
Oh. Okay.
I can't even scroll to the bottom because we'll lose all of these.
Oh, okay.
I bought a Flowdesk for email. Can we still use the same concepts that you share for MailChimp and HAA? Most of it, or a lot of it, is setting up MailChimp and getting things legal and integrated and stuff like that. So probably not.
No, there's a lot that you can apply. The emails that you can send, setting up an automatic discount code, things like that. But there is a reason that I recommend MailChimp. I recommend it because it is easy. It is free. It is
GDPR compliant.
It does all the hard work for you in terms of like your legal stuff. It's very easy, and
they're one of the biggest, so they have partnerships with most major
inboxes,
yeah. Which means your stuff doesn't go to spam as long as you are verified.
So can you use a lot of it? Yeah, you can use the types of emails to send, setting up an automation. Hopefully you're able to do that in Flowdesk. You can use the content within that, but I won't be able to help you because I've never
don't use it.
Yeah, I can't help and offer support for systems that I don't use. So there will be parts where you'll probably have to kind of figure out how to adapt them a little bit.
Do you teach how to set up an FAQ section?
I do, and in Handmade Alpha Academy I do, and I give you a whole list of copy and paste FAQs that you can put right into your FAQ section, and different ideas that you can use for your FAQs. That way you don't have to think them up by yourself.
Does everyone use the ad stuff? I don't understand it. I've not set up my shop yet. Not everyone uses it. I think it's good once you're a couple months in and your store kind of has its roots dug in, and then you can start experimenting with budgets. And
Yeah.
you don't want to just blast it right from the get-go, because you're already kind of stuck in the weeds when you first start,
Yeah.
so to say.
It's best to wait until you know what your, proven products are, the products that sell. Get yourself a couple sales first, identify which of your products are doing well, and that would be the point when you want to experiment with ads. Not a fan of all these people who say, start an Etsy shop, load it with 600 products, max out your ad budgets for all of them. I'm like, wow, that's expensive advice. Not necessary at all. I always say, put your ad money behind your best sellers. You've already proven that people like those. Putting the ad money behind it will make sure that more people see them. And that's going to help to take something that you already know does well and make it do even better.
Lisa said you can toggle between shops on the app.
Can you?
See, we don't use the apps. Does anyone else?
I haven't played with the new app very much.
No. Does anyone else think the Etsy apps kind of suck? I think most apps for everything suck that aren't like very minimalistic. I mean, you got to consider that, like, when you develop an app, you're talking about developing an app that works at every screen size and resolution and output, and every different specific brand that has their own operating system. Like, obviously Android is Android, but they all operate a little bit differently. Apps suck. And if there's a desktop version of it when it comes to business, if you have a choice, always choose the desktop laptop version of what you're doing over an app.
We already answered that one up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've changed my title and tags a couple times before I was introduced to eRank, thinking it would boost my sales, but now my sales drop. What can I do?
You're going to have to wait it out, because if you should never change the keywords of a listing that's doing well, that's selling. You also shouldn't go in and change all of your keywords at once. That's not a good practice, because it takes Etsy time to figure out what you want to be known for and where to put you. And, the people that Etsy was showing you for, that Etsy knew that, your product was connected to, Etsy just took that product away from them and is now trying to figure out, based on the new keywords, where the product needs to go and who they need to show it to. If you think that the SEO that you've, or the keywords that you've just, optimized for need a little bit of time to grow, which keywords do, and if you're happy with them, go ahead and let them go. I know that it sucks, but you've already made a little whoopsie. Let those keywords sit for a while. Give it maybe like 4 weeks, and then maybe start tweaking things very slowly if you've got listings that still aren't performing well. That's the unfortunate thing about SEO, is it's really touchy. So I always tell you guys, it's better to learn how to do SEO yourself rather than like hiring a service to do it. Because if you get reliant on a service to do it, you're going to have to pay them constantly, because things change. You have to experiment. You have to test things. Nobody's going to know how keywords will perform in your listings. And anybody who says that they do, like, I guarantee you a page 1 rank, they're lying, because they can't guarantee that. There's too many factors that play into search ranking.
Positive Mindset Works said, just renew every day, screw ads, it does better. The renew every day thing was a tactic like 15 years ago, and it doesn't work anymore.
Well, not only does it not work anymore, that can absolutely kill your shop, because what you're telling Etsy by, I'm assuming that you're being sarcastic right now because we talk about not doing that. But in case you're not, going in and renewing your listings every day, what you're doing is you are getting that small boost that Etsy awards to newly listed products that Etsy uses in order to gauge how people interact with that listing. But if you are repeatedly renewing your listings and people still aren't buying those listings, what you're telling Etsy is that despite the fact that this listing is boosted, it is not doing well, and it is going to drop further and further and further. Your listing quality score is going to drop, and you are going to end up with a lot of products that are going to flounder at the bottom. Absolutely do not go in and renew all of your listings at once every single day. That tactic has not worked since Etsy incorporated in machine learning. In 2010 is when they started experimenting with machine learning.
Yeah, it's just a silly tactic that people used to teach.
Yeah.
Loving the camera quality. Looks amazing. Thank you.
New lens.
New lens costs more than the camera itself, but we had a good YouTube month, and we always try to put our money back into YouTube. Backdrop is next.
Yeah. We did that video about the new Etsy AI and how it's deactivating random listings.
And it blew up.
It blew up. So
when will you do shop critiques again? Probably a couple months. They burn us out pretty bad, and we do the week-long shop critiques twice a year.
Yeah. Do you guys know? Do I seem more lagged like after critique week? Do I feel
you're a little rambly?
I feel tired, and I feel like I'm not articulating as good as I normally do.
We're almost done. Do you want to go ahead and plug the course? We're never going to catch up with all the questions anyway. We can go ahead and plug it.
Yeah, and then we'll keep answering questions till 1:30, so that'll be 30 more minutes. But
quick plug.
But yeah, quick.
We gotta eat.
You're in your personal profile right now.
Oh snap!
That's okay. This is the one you use for the office. So guys, just real quick. Handmade Alpha Academy, my self-paced Etsy coaching program, that's closing tomorrow night. You've got until midnight tomorrow to enroll. So we say 11:59 p.m., but tomorrow night. That is going to teach you A to Z how to build, market, and grow a dominant brand on Etsy. You get 12 months eRank Pro with that. That's normally $120. You get Christina Nicole. She's amazing photography coach. You get her product photography essentials workshop. That's normally $197, and she gives that to all of you guys for free. And she offers support in my group because she's absolutely awesome and answers photography questions. You get access every single year to our Alpha Holiday Bootcamp, like lifetime passes to that. Those are normally $120 per year, so that's perpetual. You get to email me anytime you've got questions. You've got my email address. You've got Mark's email address. You get an amazing roadmap to follow. The course is everything that I could possibly teach you about Etsy, about marketing psychology, about building a funnel, about defining your brand, about, knowing exactly what you should be doing next. That's one of the things that I always say is that if you don't know what you should be doing next, Handmade Alpha Academy is a fantastic roadmap because that is going to keep you on track so that you always know what the next step is for your business, for launching new products, for marketing those products, for generating a following. If you guys end up having questions about it, we will answer those here maybe towards the end. I would really appreciate if you put a wolf emoji in those questions.
Just the ones about HAA.
About HAA. That way we can find them.
And I'll go ahead and post the link in chat here for those of you who are just interested and want to check it out. Checkout boxes are down on the bottom, or there's a ton of information you can read through and get information about the course as well.
And Evelyn had said,
what if you haven't started a shop?
That's the best case scenario because we do have a lot of sellers who start and they're very established. Once they start getting through HAA and learning about the psychology of their business, they start second guessing some of the choices that they originally made. And it kind of puts them in a conundrum of, maybe I did this wrong. Maybe I need to go back and change this. For those of you who are starting with no shop, you can hit the ground running. You get to pass that trial and error process. And we have both. We have brand newbies. We have those who already have six-figure businesses who join HAA. So, and we do have a 30 back, no questions asked money back guarantee.
30 back.
30 day
money back guarantee.
I can't
no questions asked. You don't have to submit homework or doing it. Yeah, we've been live streaming for 5 days. So our mouth holes don't say the words that our brain holes want us to put out, is what it is. All right. I'm thinking about trying text or emails from my shop. Besides getting customers to sign up in person and at checkout, is there another way to find new customers to sign up without purchase? Without purchase, social media advertising and things, you can have links to your email lists and things like that. During purchase, you can have things like little cards that are included that have your email list, QR codes, that kind of thing.
Before purchase, it's really, and again, something we teach in Handmade Alpha Academy, how to set up. But if you can get your email list to trigger an automatic discount code, that is a huge incentive because if somebody is already on one of your listings, they want to buy one of your products, but one of your 10 listing photos, for example, has a QR code or a little link that they can go to get 20% off of this purchase right now. The thing that you're about to buy, you can get a coupon for that right now and save money on it by going to this link and signing up to get an automatic discount code. You just have to have a system in place with your mailing list to do that, which is what, ultimately is one of the things that we teach in Handmade Alpha Academy. But incentivizing them signing up. If it's just like, join my newsletter to hear about new products, who wants to do that?
Nah, nobody wants that.
That sounds really boring.
It's gonna have a high quit rate.
Make sure that you have a great incentive and discount code. Get a discount on the thing you already are about to buy. That's a great way to do it.
Is it recommended to advertise all products or products that are selling organically already? Etsy ads goals section, quote unquote. I feel that changes the algorithm in a way that can benefit you more. Thoughts? We're always big on putting the ads on already selling products. It's things that people clearly already want. So you don't have to worry about that. That's the thing. When you make a product, you could have a collection of 10 things and really like a couple of them, and that be not the thing that sells at all. It's the one you don't even care for that everyone seems to buy. Your customers are telling you that these are the ones that they want. So you should be putting the ones that people have already said that they want in front of more people, because they're more likely to want those things. And then it's more likely to show them to people who want those things. So
can I drink your water?
Yes, you may.
I haven't had enough coffee today.
Has Etsy changed the size of listing photo pictures? I have my title on my main photo and all of a sudden it's being cut off. I've tried to adjust the size and the title is still being cut off.
They're running a test right now with a small batch of people. You're just an unlucky one, unfortunately, that's probably in their test batch. I wouldn't go and change everything right now. Wait, because they might change back. And then it would really suck if you went and changed all your photos to accommodate this. And then they change it back. Like I said, during the summer, Etsy tests things a lot, and photos are one of the things that they've been testing.
If I want to use the reviews on my products as testimonials on social media, how do I do that? Do I have to ask the person who reviewed it to post it on social media? Thanks.
You don't have
to. Yeah, have to. No. Should you? Yes. Just to be polite.
I like to take the testimonial and just use, if their name is Mark Moore, just put Mark, get rid of the Moore. When you make your own little, I mean, Canva has great testimonial social media templates. I would use one of those really nice templates and then just only use the name, the first name. That's a really great way to do it. And then there's a little bit of privacy there.
I like to make digital art. Should I order the prints myself or use a print on demand? I was thinking of only having 5 available of each print, and about the addresses, should I have a PO box? Thank you.
So if you do POD, you will have a low profit margin because that's how POD works, because they're doing a lot of the hard work for you. It's really up to you.
Having a limit of 5 on POD, I don't know if that's going to be feasible. The profit margins are going to have to be so low.
POD, you're going to have lower profit margins. If you order them from a local print shop somewhere around your house, usually you can get a good deal on stuff like that. Or if your business starts doing well, investing in a photo like quality printer. We've got tons of people, including Amber Marie, one of our best, selling students.
Them's his goals.
She bought a great printer because she does cards and she prints her own, and does them on professional like cardstock paper. So really it's up to you. Just know that if you do POD, you make less money. You do no work though, which is great. That's awesome. You don't have to ship anything.
Give and take.
So it really just depends on what you want to do. Do you want to ship things and have to deal with that and find a place to get your stuff printed?
But make a little bit more money?
But make more money? Or are you willing to lose a little bit of money to pay a service to take care of all that for you? That way you can work on making more art. There's no right or wrong. Just depends on what you want to do. And
then the P.O. box thing, totally up to you. I'm a big fan of using a P.O. box for your business, for your return orders and things like that. I mean, you never know. USA Today might have a little feature and then your product gets blown up and you get 600 orders and then suddenly you're a big shop And assuming that you're scalable to that point, now you're blowing up all over national television and your public address is freely available for all those people.
Yeah.
So
When we lived on a military base, we used our address because there was no way that anyone could, they would have to go through a gate, get through an armed guard with a dog.
And on a base 45 minutes into the middle of nowhere.
Right. If they got, I always said, if you can get to my house without getting shot, you can just take me. You can abduct me. Take me with you.
Shut up.
Because there was no way that anybody could have gotten to us.
No.
But
now it's a little different.
Now we live on a street.
Now I'm the gate guard.
Now
Watch out.
He's the gate guard. We got Amy, the guard dog.
She'll scream and I'll come running out naked like Shrek. We're not bringing that one up.
Oh, but it's so funny.
I know. Let's see. In the ad section, there's an option to tell us about your ad goals. The options being increase visibility and awareness, drive orders short term, promote specific items, take my sales up a notch, maximize my exposure to help compete against similar shops. Can you guys shed any light on the goals in the ad section?
That's it. I mean,
that's it.
Etsy is going to use personalization for the customers to determine which of, where they're going to show the ads. Increase visibility and awareness. I'm assuming that drive order short term is probably going to be the one that blasts your content more at a higher frequency by showing a lot of the same, product to the same person multiple times so that they are seeing it nonstop and more likely to buy. Increase visibility and awareness. I'm going to assume that they show it to more people, but at, not as frequently. Promote specific items. That's where you're going to have an ad for one product and it's going to be all over the place. The other two, maximize exposure to help compete against similar shops. I'm assuming that that's just where you're going to be able to compete at the top of highly competitive search pages. The take my sales up a notch one is kind of confusing. I don't know how that's any different. This kind of just sounds like maybe a survey from Etsy as well to see what your goals are. There might be some catering though. But this is just my speculation based on what I'm seeing. This is just what I'm assuming.
Do they record this so we can watch it later? I do not record it. However, YouTube does. So yes, our live streams, unless something happens on YouTube's end or we say something that YouTube's like, yeah, no, that's not going on our website.
Which we've never done.
Which we've never done. This should be fine.
In front of my channel, there's a live tab where you can go back and watch all of these.
Forever
and ever and ever.
Do you think printables of my architecture ink drawing is niche enough? Do you suggest narrowing it down more?
That sounds like a niche.
Yeah.
That sounds like a niche. I could see your art maybe like in someone's even in like an architect's office, like maybe in his office building at work to make his office look more professional. Totally. That sounds like a niche to me.
I sell sublimated tea towels, personalized Christmas ornaments, and just started a few personalized shirts all geared towards everyday moms. Is that too many different things? Redoing my listings.
Okay, so those aren't too many different things if they had a common theme, but everyday moms, that is such
everyday mom Christmas ornaments?
That's such a broad niche. Almost every student who initially joined Handmade Alpha Academy this time around said, my niche is moms. Busy moms. And I'm like, that's all moms. Tell me more about this mom. Everyday mom. That's most women. You could niche that down more. I can't tell you how many shops in a day that I look at that are for everyday moms, or just moms. I would love to see you narrow that down more.
Almost lost them there.
I saw that.
I'm a Canadian seller, but I have the shop address the same as Printify, as that's where the POD is shipped from. I'm wanting to open a second shop and want to make sure that this is okay. For your address, I think you can't put I don't think you can put Printify's address that they provide. You need to either get yourself whatever your PO box equivalent is in Canada or an address of yours, unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying.
Yeah, you're not supposed to put your for tax purposes on the back end of Etsy, where you're putting
that's your address.
You've got to put your address. Printify's address is not your address.
At least in the US, PO boxes, I believe, are a business expense that you can write off.
They are. But that's when it tells you, as you're filling out your shop to enter your address, that does need to be your address for tax purposes. You cannot put Printify's address. Now, when you fill out your print provider, you can say that your products ship from blah, blah, blah on those individual listings. And not to mention, Printify has multiple print facilities. So your products aren't shipping from Printify. Printify is made up of lots of little print companies that ship from all over the place. So even that isn't completely an honest answer.
Said I feel like I heard someone put on YouTube saying to put Printify's address, and it's horrible advice.
Yeah.
It is horrible advice.
Yeah, you're not supposed, and that's just like their headquarters, and yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Unless we're totally misunderstanding. What do you think about combo listings? Wombo combo?
That could have a lot of different meanings.
Yep, no idea what you're talking about, dog.
If you mean, you're selling it. So the most common thing that I see is like somebody who's selling a t-shirt, but then they've got like shirt, hoodie, and then there's like the kids sizes, but it makes it look like the listing is the price of whatever the lowest price item in the variance is, usually the kid size. So it ends up looking like the product is $5, but then you click on it and it's more expensive. Not a fan of that. And I'm sure that anybody who's ever seen that, where you think you're buying a shirt for $5 or $10 and you look and the shirt's actually $30. I'm not a fan of that. However, if you sell necklaces and you offer a necklace, but you have an add-on where you can add a pair of earrings for $10 more, huge fan of that. Because that is a subtle upsell where, the customer is already interested in the necklace and they're seeing the price of the necklace, but then they see another option to pay $10 more to add on earrings that would match the necklace. That to me is ideal because it saves them time. They don't have to go searching for the perfect pair of earrings.
Is there something with less of a learning curve than MailChimp?
MailChimp is the easiest.
As far as we know.
Oh, MailChimp is so easy. Yeah, I've never used anything easier than MailChimp.
What's the best tool to research copyright for images?
Images.
I mean, the thing is, if you're referring to getting them for yourself, then you're probably not using a reliable source to get your images from to begin with, which is already kind of sketchy. So use a service that specifically is catered for giving you images for licensing.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that's going to scan your image and tell you it's okay. It's not like the
there might be, but nothing that we know of.
It's not like the trademark database where you can put in a word and it'll tell you if there's a trademark on that word.
I mean, your best bet, at least as far as I know, because we don't really do that, you could just go into Google Images, you can drag an image in it and it'll attempt to reverse image search it, and then you can try to make your best judgment that way. But you really shouldn't be using something like Google Images to pull images anyway. You should be using a service specifically dedicated to that. Again, unless we're misunderstanding what you're asking.
Right. And obviously nothing that you recognize from anywhere else. If it's, a funky style, super duper unique picture of Mickey Mouse, yeah, you're probably not going to find it anywhere, but it's still Mickey Mouse. Even if it is in a non-Disney style, you'll still get in trouble. So
anything wrong in duplicate listings under different categories?
I'm not a big fan of duplicating listings just to stretch them out for different categories. It's confusing to sellers and it's saturating the marketplace. Not a big fan. Now, if you're, like I said before, if you want to A/B split test to see what does better for a short amount of time, that's fine. But as a buyer, if I go into your store and I see multiple listings that essentially look exactly the same, but I can't figure out what the difference is, I'm probably just going to walk away because I don't want to make the wrong choice because maybe I'm missing something. But I'm going to try immediately as a customer to understand what is the difference between these products. So not really the best tactic. I wouldn't do it unless you're just running some little quick experiments.
Hi guys, I'm a UK seller, opened up shop end of May and I made 20 sales. However, I've noticed that 90% of these sales come from New Zealand, Australia, and Israel. Do I have any influence on this? Well, you do, because you're selling something that seems to be trending in New Zealand, Australia, and Israel.
Hey, that's cool.
What is?
Unless you've got, Google Analytics set up, I mean, that's really cool. I can't really give you any insight if you don't have Google Analytics set up. I would start searching your business name to see if you got shouted out somewhere. But I mean, that's a good thing. Definitely not bad.
And if you guys have any HAA questions, feel free to pop those in the chat. We'll be getting to those here in the next couple minutes.
Oh, yeah. So let me real quick, we'll do 5 more minutes of general questions. And then I want to give you guys, because this is the last time that we're going to have face-to-face to talk about Handmade Alpha Academy. That's closing tomorrow night. This is the last day that we're doing a live stream, though.
And that's not just some hoopla. I close it at midnight.
Oh, yeah. We
on the dot.
We stay up, and
if you're on the checkout page, it'll still let you through. But if you have not gotten to it, it will be inaccessible.
Yeah. So if you have questions about that, that is my Etsy coaching program. This live stream has been kind of all over the place. But if you're familiar with my content when I'm not half asleep because I've been live streaming every day, you know what my content style is like. You know what my teaching style is like. You know we take a scientific approach to everything here. And that is essentially Handmade Alpha Academy in a nutshell. It is the best of my teaching. I have a background in teaching. I started out as an early childhood educator, but I took everything that I learned about how the human brain develops, and I turned that into a program that appeals to all different learning styles. We have content for visual learners, learners who prefer to read written content. I do things in a more metaphorical concept for those of you who have struggled, or who struggle to visualize things. I put them into more simple terms that are a little easier to understand, because that's how I learn. If you have questions about that you want to ask me, I much prefer to answer them here as opposed to email, but I can answer them via email if they're more private. You can reach out to me at starla@handmadealphaacademy.com if you want to email me. But feel free to pop some questions about that, in the chat. If you want us to answer those before we sign off, we'll try to prioritize them. We'll go ahead and get a couple more.
We don't have any yet, so.
Okay.
Is it true that t-shirt photos are now selling better with flat lay photos? I just heard this on the Everbee podcast a few days ago. I don't see why there would be any evidence at all as to why that would be true. I would like to see their source on that information.
There's no way they can quantify that. They have no metric for that.
They have a monkey throwing darts at a dartboard, and the dart hit the one that says flat lay t-shirts, and that's their source. I'm just joking. I don't know. But
if they can, I would
source
ask them to cite their sources. Anytime you hear weird advice like that.
That's such a weirdly specific thing to say.
Yeah. Maybe they did a survey of their users. That's always a possibility, but I would need to see a source.
I remember you guys saying the summer months, it's always slow. My question is, why are my ads eating up funds without sales? If there are no shoppers, why would my ads run and be depleted daily?
They're shoppers. I mean, there are some shoppers.
Millions of shoppers.
Yeah. It's just, there's less than there normally are. I would be really careful about how much you've got in your ad budget. I would turn my ads off if it was eating up all my money without making sales. Keep in mind that ads, it's like gambling. You're going to the casino, baby. Like you are playing a dangerous game every time that you do Etsy ads, and that's okay. That's sometimes you put a little bit of money aside to go to the casino for fun. You do it with the expectation that you might lose some money. You don't bet the house on it. You don't bet your car on it, but you set a little bit aside. If the ads are taking out so much money, though, that it's becoming alarming, turn them off for a while. Mm-hmm. I would, especially since it's the slow season anyway. You could always turn them back on in September when things start to pick up.
Is it okay to have a shop that sells B2B and B2C, or should I focus more? I don't know what those mean.
B2B.
I don't know what those mean.
I don't know what B2B and B2. It's probably an acronym that right when you say what it means, I'll understand immediately, but.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Back to cat.
Back to cat. I don't know what it means. I need you to.
Which POD provider do you recommend?
They all have their perks.
All of them.
I work with Printify a lot. Printify works with lots of little companies. Printify doesn't print anything. They work with little print providers, and they have a lot more types of products because of that. Printful is Printful. Printful prints. Printful prints and Printful ships. So it's all taking
business
place.
To business.
It's all taking. Oh, okay. It all takes place within Printful. less products. I've never had any issues with the quality. We ordered like 600 shirts for his band. We had one misprint, the one that we kept. And other than that, I've never had issues with any of the POD companies. So it just depends on what types of products you want to offer.
Business to business or business versus business to consumer.
Okay, but what was the original question?
I don't know, and I lost it.
Oh no.
Yeah, they disappear after a while, and there were literally thousands of comments in between here and there. So
oh no.
I think they were just asking what our opinions are.
Okay.
I don't have one.
I still don't understand business to business or business.
Like a supply shop versus someone who sells a product to people.
Yeah, I'm still confused.
I'm assuming that's what you mean. Please feel free to elaborate if you're actually still here.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it. But it's past 1:30, so we're getting into HA questions anyway.
All right, go ahead. There's one of them, Buffalo.
I feel like training often involves sellers who sell products they can produce more than one. As a vintage seller, do you address us one-of-a-kind folks?
So there's a reason that most programs focus on sellers who can sell more than one. It's because that's what Etsy's algorithm prefers. You will always be at a disadvantage as a one-of-a-kind or a vintage seller. I know how much that sucks. There's no way that I can change how Etsy works, though. So I don't address it because I can't make Etsy change. The algorithm likes to see products that can sell over and over again in order to accumulate what is known as a listing quality score. It's how Etsy is able to study consumer behavior. A one-off purchase is not enough data that Etsy can use in order to use their machine learning to show where more of your products should show up for. So a lot of Handmade Elf Academy is going to be catered to those who can produce multiple products. Now, we have had one-of-a-kind sellers go in HAA, and they've been able to use a lot of it. We have had vintage sellers who have gone into HAA, and they've been able to use a lot of it. But the algorithm is always going to be fighting against you.
Yeah.
So what I usually recommend for our sellers who do sell mostly one-of-a-kind products or vintage is that you find something, anything that you can reproduce, no matter what it might be. If you sell, vintage products, maybe you go through a POD company and you create some tote bags, and they're thrifting bags for, your customers. If they like to go to thrift shops, it's a bag that says, my thrifting bag, that they can take the thrift shops with them. And then you could go through a POD company and have lots of those done. That way, at least you have a couple products that are able to rank and search, build listing quality scores. Because ideally, what you would want to happen is for somebody to find your thrifting bag in search, because, it will hopefully start ranking. They put that in their cart, but then they want to see what else you sell. Most of the time, if we add a product to our cart, we go to that store to see if there's anything else that they have or something that we might like better. And then they would discover your vintage items or your one-of-a-kind items. So that's always an option. But in terms of like seeking somebody to address why, there's nobody who's going to be able to really do that. Unfortunately, there's nobody that's going to be able to advise you more. I mean, there are sales tactics or marketing tactics that I'm sure that exist that would work better for vintage. It's just not something that I've ever personally done. But that's why. That's why you probably struggle a little bit.
Do you plan on going deeper into Google Analytics 4 in your course? No, likely not.
Well, because I'll probably just cover that here on my channel. Google Analytics 4, we didn't think that we were even gonna have it until I woke up this morning and there was a banner on Etsy saying that Google Analytics 4 finally got integrated. In fact, this week or yesterday, I scripted a whole video about how mad I was that we didn't have Google Analytics 4 and that it was going away. I would need a lot of time to even create that content.
Well, not only considering like anything outside of the basics on something like an analytics program is going to also require us to teach things like critical thinking. Critical thinking is not an inherent thing that humans have. Most people see the direct outcome of a decision directly before them. They don't have a branching set of thoughts like either of these outcomes could happen, which could cause either of these three outcomes to happen. And like they can't, it's like playing a game of chess. Like most people see the next move. They haven't taken the time to learn how to be able to predict like what the next 5 moves my opponent might make are based on the one decision. And analyzing analytics is kind of the same way.
He's a data analyst.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that if we wanted to go really in depth with that, we would also have to teach critical thinking skills, which I mean there are whole like schools dedicated to teaching critical thinking, and I don't really want to get into that because it's a hard subject to knock.
He was a data analyst for the military, and still we struggle with Google Analytics and
to an extent
predicting. I mean, that's pretty much
it is prediction. Yeah,
it is prediction.
Based on, I mean, it's stock market, right? Is all about predictions. It's the same thing. How do I pay? How much do I pay to get into Handmade Alpha Academy? It is $997 one time or $199 per month for 6 months.
Yes, and it is lifetime access.
Yes. I'm up to module 4. I'm just going to type in the website because most of those questions can be answered there as well.
Yeah, we'll still address them.
Didn't say we wouldn't.
I'm up to module 4 and I've learned so much already. My Etsy store looks 1000% better.
Yes. Go to site. Thank you. I was just making sure that the link was working.
You're fine.
Awesome. I don't think we have any more HAA questions, but let me go. Stop it.
The chat's jumping all around.
It likes to jump.
Oh, the question was about selling business to business and business to consumer in one shop. I mean, it just depends on what you're...
Digital. I believe they said that they were selling digital.
Yeah, but business to business, like, are you a business catering to businesses and then businesses catering to non-businesses? Is that the question? I mean, it really just depends. It's all about brand execution.
Mm-hmm.
You can be creative enough to make brands work in any which way, but there has to be a cohesive element that ties it all together. And you have to be really creative sometimes to make things fit. I always like to use the example of the girl who joined Handmade Alpha Academy. She sold embroidered aprons and she sold dog bandanas. And she's like, well, unfortunately, I'm just going to have to split these into 2 different shops because these don't fit together, aprons and bandanas for dogs. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Hold up. What if you made the bandanas match the aprons? Because where is the dog while you're cooking? The dog is in the kitchen under your feet. Make them match, and then you can have, you know, mom's apron and her little helper. And that is a great way to take 2 products that are different and find a glue that holds them together, and to create a niche. But it does take a little bit of creativity sometimes to do that.
Any HAA members in here that do POD? I don't know how many are here, but absolutely, I'd probably say a good half of them this time around were POD.
Oh, God, yeah. Most of them.
POD is really popular right now.
Yeah, and all my shops are POD. A lot of the examples in HAA are POD. One of our, I mean, Hannah from Distant Planet, she is an amazing example of a POD shop that we've had here on the channel before. She's in our student interviews section. We did a great interview with her. Her POD shop is my favorite because she takes a lot of her own photos. You wouldn't even know it's a POD shop looking at it because she orders samples.
Google Analytics 4 kept changing and switching while they initially released it. Yeah, it was, but I mean, to be honest, Universal Analytics, I like it more. I really don't like Google Analytics 4. Anyway, that's all we have time for. We don't have any more HAA questions. Remember, it is closing tomorrow night at midnight Eastern time. It goes away. So if you're planning on signing up, well, we did have one pop in. They're just broad Etsy practices, but do you think HAA would be a good choice for a POD seller? Absolutely. If your question is, I sell this, I do this, outside of what she was talking about with vintage, the answer is absolutely, unequivocally yes.
Yeah, how do you find that HAA helps with POD? Is it covered a bit? There's nothing is specific to POD because what you are learning is a foundation of marketing psychology.
Yes.
That can be applied to any product. You're not going to learn POD secrets in HAA.
No, that's not what this is.
You're going to learn universal marketing practices that are going to be applied to any business. And we see it work for POD over and over and over again. There are no special secrets that
help one industry more than another.
Right. I mean, sometimes, like, for example, we've got like 18 plus sellers where they need, you know, more personalized advice because they have different things that they have to do. But there really are no magic POD secrets. That's why you're probably looking around on YouTube and watching YouTube channels and not really finding anything that's standing out. The thing that sets Handmade Alpha Academy apart is we use human buyer psychology, or I teach, neuromarketing tactics on a very, very base level, but I'm teaching you how the human brain works. I'm teaching you psychological triggers that you can lay throughout your shop and your marketing that are going to help to attract your ideal customers. I'm teaching you things like color psychology that are going to actually influence the emotions of the people from the moment that they get into your storefront, so that you can start creating, the feelings that you want your brand to evoke within your customers. I'm teaching you how to build a funnel so that when you need money, when you need to make sales, you can send an email out to your email list and drive that traffic right to your shop, even during slow seasons when traffic on Etsy isn't ideal. Like right now, we are experiencing the summer slump, but we have plenty of Handmade Alpha Academy students who are doing fantastic right now because they have a funnel. They don't need to worry about traffic being on Etsy. They have a direct connection to their target customers' inboxes where they're able to email them. Short answer is that POD shops do well in HAA. That's most of our students this time around because we did the webinars with Printify. But you're not,
it's a lot of them, though.
It is a lot. It is more than we've ever had. And we haven't had a complaint so far. So, but if you end up getting in and not caring for it, we do have a 30-day money back guarantee on
No
them.
questions asked.
Yeah.
All right. We love you guys. And she will be in a new video on Tuesday, E-Rank live stream every Thursday. And we'll see you again for the next Friday being next Friday.
Yes, it's fine for printable sellers as well.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, guys.
I have become a better person through HAA.
What I really like about Starla is her honesty and transparency. There's so much that she gives to people for free.
I'm like, this is an incredible framework for me to build into and adjust to and adapt to, and all these things that I would have never been able to figure out on my own.
I was like reinvigorated about my business when I started HAA.
Our armor was featured in Lucifer season 5 finale, and the main actor got to wear things that we created here. Part of the reason why we were able and ready to do such a thing was because of the alphas.
Joining Etsy, joining any online platform, you have question after question after question. HAA has been the one place where I've got answers for nearly all my questions.
You guys and what you have done with the Handmade Alpha Academy has literally changed my life.
And you get continued help no matter where you're at in your Etsy journey. That was probably the biggest selling point for me.
The way you teach it, it's simple, it's down to earth. I can comprehend it. That's one of the things I love about your teaching style.
I don't think I ever could have done it without being in the HAA. Your step-by-step steps were fantastic.
I don't know how you could not succeed by following the step-by-step really instruction of how you lead us through HAA.
The first 4+ years that I was on Etsy, I think I had 37 sales, and we've gotten well over 1,000 since then. I think I'm up to 1,200.
Self-paced, there's an amazing Facebook group that will help you.
Invest in yourself. It's worth every penny and so much more.
I look at my Etsy shop and I look at my website and I am just in awe of what I have done. And I just look at it every day and think, wow.
I actually think that for what you get, you guys are really, really not charging enough. I hate to say that.
I've had thoughts to myself where I've been like, I'd give you guys $3,000 for this course. I see how valuable it is.
2020, I did maybe $3,000. 2021, I did $10,000. HAA for me paid back for itself 6 weeks after I signed up for it.
I definitely recommend it. If you can invest the money, the time investment is not too bad.
Well worth the money. There is nothing in all that I've taken that I haven't been able to use for my business.
Absolutely, just do it, because there's no, what do you have to lose? And it's everything you need in one place.
It's hard to buy an education that will teach you practical skills like we learn in HAA.
Take the plunge, do it. First off, the money back guarantee is really a selling point for me.
She knows so much about marketing and branding and the psychology behind it. So that's really good knowledge to have, and she's so willing to share that.
So I would tell everybody out there that's thinking about it, if you're ready for this step and if you're ready to grow yourself and your business, it changed our lives, honestly.